Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. This is my American Hornbeam. I was inspired by Tony of Tony's Bonsai to go ahead and bend up one of my trees. So I wrapped this in vet tape and I gave it a little bit, well, not as good of an S-curve as I wanted, but this is the tree I think of when I'm moved to think about Tony. So I got to clean up the landscape. This tree has been overpotted in this, and I'm actually considering this tree for my suburban street penjing. This would be a lawn tree at the person whose house we're at when we're walking by on the sidewalk. So I'm not 100% sure that that's going to be where this tree goes. But today I want to get it back into shape and look at all the places that I pruned and what happened after that. And let's get into it. First thing I want to do is get the weeds out of here. That was clover or wood sorrel. Can't tell the difference. This, I don't know what it is. This looks like a little fern of some kind. I might just leave that. Probably not. Have to see what I mess up. And this is that invasive weed that came in one of Candace's trees that I had never seen before. And now it's in every one of my pots. I find that incredibly amazing, by the way. So yes, it's a reason to not have living trees go across state lines, I guess. But heck, I'm not going to let it escape the lab here. I'm probably going to have to pull that out. All right, I'll come back when this is done. I'll redress the top of this and we'll start messing around with the canopy. So as I'm looking at the root base, I'm trying to determine if I had anything better down below. And this was starting to look promising over here, but it's a little bit flat. If I take this top root off of here, there's a lot of like hollowed out area under here that makes it not quite right to be above the soil. So I'm thinking, I am going to still take that root off, but I'm thinking the soil level should be around here. And that's a pretty nice root base. And if I have it in good soil and I take good care of it and feed it, this should grow up to be a nice tree. So let's look at the canopy. All right, so there's a look at the canopy now. This American Hornbeam was started from seed. The parent tree was at the base of the Queensboro Plaza train station. Subway station, the 7 train that I took every day. I just pruned a pruning stub off of there, which means that's where I pruned it last, and let's see what happened. I got a linear extension with a little bit of change in direction. So if I were to prune it here, I would get a further change in that direction, a further change in direction following that same curve. So I have to determine whether or not I want that or whether I want something out further. And I think I'd better pick a front. This might be a nice front because it does seem to come back in a spiral. But I'm thinking of taking the whole top off of this tree, so I really got to think this through. Let me study it and come back and show you what I've picked as a front. All right, you can hardly see it, But there's a little wire here, right here. And you're looking at the front of this tree. And I like this because it goes up and down on this side, and it also goes down on this side that's still on the outside of that curve, and I love that. Then it comes up here and flattens out, and it flattens out back here, and that branch is not right in line with the one on the other side, so that's cool. This is kind of a weak branch. And then there's this top section, and I've also got a back branch that's in a good location. So with that as the front, let's get started on pruning the canopy. All right, you're kind of looking at the front right now. So what I'm going to want to do is look at every intersection where I pruned last and see what happened. This one I pruned here, and I got growth in that same direction. Then I pruned here, and I got growth in that same direction. I think it's time to start changing direction here, but I want the branch to extend a little further. All right, let me take the pruning stub off. And these low leaves right at the intersection, just those two. It's got another branch down low that's going more in the direction I want it to go. All right, that makes me want to prune this to here, and then maybe I'll get the two of these going in this direction. And it would be great if I could get this to go in two directions. I pruned it here, and there was a leaf on that side, and that's the side it extended. Here I can change directions pretty far back, kind of in line with what I'm doing here. So now it'll come more in this direction, give a little zigzag to that branch, just to alleviate some confusion and to remove some of the older, larger leaves, ones with holes in them, ones that are just out of scale. It doesn't matter in October. We're still going to get nice weather. I still have foliage. I'm not decimating the tree. Going back to the front, which I'm looking at right now, that's the start of some good secondary branching right where I want it. Actually, there is a nice bud right there, so I'm going back a little further. Yeah, and this will start filling in this area. Going up to this branch above it, which I wouldn't say is parallel or ladder. This one heads up. And I've got a strong tertiary branch coming out of here. Primary. Oh, no, this is secondary. No, trunk, primary, yeah, secondary branch here. Last pruned it there, and it extended in the direction I wanted it to go. I still want it to go in that direction, but I'm removing the end of this. Removing that leaf. This is actually a branch coming off of here. Do I want that? It'll be right on top of this. I don't want to lose the bifurcation there. I'll take that leaf off. And there's a leaf that's facing backwards. There's actually two of them. I mean, that cleans that up a little bit and makes me want to rethink this. I don't think I can rely on a branch growing from here. And I eventually do want to prune away this branch. So I'm just going to leave it. Now I'm ignoring the apex for a moment and just working around the tree. So I've got these two. I'm going to do this branch next, which is my back branch, really. I last pruned it here, lessen the stub, and which direction would it make sense for this branch to go to next? It comes off here really interesting. It comes off at 90 degrees and then curves back around. I think that's very interesting. But I think I don't want to go much further than my last pruning stub. And I think I want it to continue curving in this direction, which is fortunate because I have a place to do that here. Okay, this will grow more in this direction. So let me take off some confusing leaves here. I think this little branchette that's starting there is not in a good spot. I can see this whole intersection from the front of the tree, which is great. Okay, here I do have a bifurcation that happened below my last prune, which is there. So I think all I want to do there is give it a little more of its own identity by removing some leaves. In this case, I'm just going to take the tip off of there. This one I'll let extend. I'm going to remove a couple of leaves. I think I'm going to go back with a little bit more on this one. All right, what do I want to do with this branch here? It's in a great place. That's the only thing I have rounding this out, but can I get it to go into a different mode? I pruned it here, then here, but I think with this one I want to go back just below my last pruning stub right there, and I want it to change direction going this way, because that will fill out this area when I get to over here. That leaves one leaf on there. I do have leaf scars. I can't really see the buds. You know what? I think I'm gonna get drastic here and take this branch down to there. I have a nice bud right here at the base of a leaf, or yeah, right at the base of a leaf, and that's going to extend in a good direction, I think. And it'll be nice and delicate, which you got to admit, the delicacy of some of these branches. Delicateness, delicacy, I don't mean you can eat them. Take the tip off of that. All right, that took care of that back branch. Now let's go to this one. I can clean up a transition there a little bit. And one here. I think I need a better tool for that. Rubber cement on there. Back to the front. Okay, this branch. Here's the last pruning stub. And I got a branch coming out from below, or extending from below. What do I want this branch to do? Here's another stub back here further back. What do I want that branch to do? I want it to fill this area. Where can I get it to do that? Here again, if I go back below the last pruning stub, I have a bud there that will help fill out this area, I think. I hope. That's the plan. I'm going to remove this damaged leaf. We're at the end of our foliage season anyway. Now this is going way back around. Do I want to arrest that? I could. It's already come pretty far over here. I think I would take it back to there. And remove this leaf. These buds should start to extend, you know, and get their winter ready look. Okay, now I got to get serious here. And you may be noticing that I'm kind of getting a canopy right about here, which is making me rethink the top of this tree altogether. Well, let me finish my thought process here. This was pruned here and grew a curve, nice curve there. It also got a branch extending here, which is kind of on top of this, but we'll deal with that. Pruning stub. All right, so if everything's going to be its own entity, and I've got a bud there, I'm taking the end off of that, and that bud will extend here. This leaf is in the way. This leaf is damaged. And going back to my front, I'm going to choose a downward facing leaf there. And the leaf is not the prettiest. I'm just taking off some of the leaves. Okay guys, this is the moment of truth. This is where I change forever the look of this tree. But if I were to take this off, I've got a nice outward structure at a nice height relative to these low branches. This one notwithstanding, it's a very, very weak branch. As a matter of fact, I want to take it off completely because it's keeping me from being able to make a decision here. You know, it's nice placement on this nice sweeping branch. If I take the top off, that's a nice front because the tree leans this way. I wanted to point out the way this tree seems to want to heal. It wants to heal in like a flame, and I've noticed it in a bunch of different places here. You know, smaller sections, and probably will heal that way there. Get some cut paste on there. Monkey grip rubber cement. Excellent. Come on, Steve, make up your mind. This is a big one. Give me a minute. We'll come back. I'll tell you what I decided. All right, you want to know what I decided? I decided that the front, which was here, is now going to be here. And I'm cutting this off right there. I don't know. I see people do this kind of stuff so confidently, and I'm so envious of that. I am not confident about this, but I've made up my mind. This ironwood ratcheting pruners is the perfect tool for this. From the new front, I don't want to see a scar there, so I want to angle it back away from the front. And I got to leave a bit for dieback. That's a nice little tree, isn't it? Oh well, I can't save it. Can I, or should I clean that up a little bit more? That's a nice clean cut. I want to let it start dying back from that point. And I still haven't trimmed this branch yet. That's going to be a sin because I got to do that in relation to the new front. What I mean is it's a sin if I don't. It now kind of leans forward. It's got a nice top of the canopy. I won't call it the leader. This tree is going to have competitive leaders. I got to trim that branch. And from the new front, it swings back. I have a branch division here, way back here, so I'm going to take that leaf off. I've got a little branch here. I've got, what's this? That was just confusing. I left a piece of it. So I've got a little branch here, a little branch here. There's a pruning stub here and a pruning stub there. That's the last pruning stub. That's the one before it. I'm going back to there. And I think I'm going to bite the bullet and just get rid of this big root now. And I'll clean that all up when I repot. So this could be a landscape tree in a penjing, depending on what that does next year. I'm hoping what I did today was the right thing at the right time. There's the new front. That'll get cleaned up. There's the right side, kind of straight. There's the back. There. And this part comes forward. There's the left side. And back to the front. That crosses there. So I could change the direction entirely, but I got to see this branch grow before I cut it back to there. That's something to consider. Thanks for sticking with me while I made some really tough decisions. and thanks for keeping me company in my backyard.